I'm bringing you in.
Hey, you in there? Watch LCL report.
My name is Nina Bartlett from Lola, and when I want to know what's happening with activism, I go to freekeen.com.
Hi, this is Terry Lupo. Welcome to LCL Report. Today I'm going to be talking about Sam Dodson, and you guys might know Sam from my other reports. He's a documentarist who was thrown in jail for basically being in the wrong place with a camera. I want to take you to that interview now. I've been trying to get an update because this is an old interview from PorcFest, and I can't get him to return my email, so I'm assuming that he's just not allowed to talk about his lawsuit. Anyway, if anybody knows something, post it in the comment section. I'm here with Sam Dodson, recently famous reporter in a long line of arrests here in Keene, political activist. Also, though, do you describe yourself as a journalist or a documentary? I'm not
either
exactly...
one. I primarily want to work on documentary films up here. I'm learning the trade, so to speak, and in the meantime I do some of my own reports. It's a little bit of experimentation, and I'm going to launch a OTN news service.
And what, for my viewers that don't know what OTN is, what is that?
Obscured Truth Network. It's something I created to kind of show the pro-freedom side of the issues rather than what you get in the mainstream media, which is the pro-state.
And how can they find that if they want to find more?
Obscuredtruth.com.
Great. So I'm doing a series trying to find out why people are moving to the Free State Project and what their breaking point was. If they had a certain day where they said, this is the reason, or if they kind of came on gradually.
For me, it was gradual. I came across Free Talk Live, started listening to the show, and it was over about a year that I came around to the message of liberty, as people say. I was in this corporate job, made great money and traveled all over the world, really lived what most people would consider the American dream. And then I started hearing and understanding this message of liberty and decided that my job was really just helping the big companies hurt the small ones. I was in telecom, so working with AT&T and Sprint and those folks. And that was not the difference that I wanted to make in the world. And when I started seeing what was happening up here in New Hampshire, here I am.
So it took about a year to kind of evolve to that point where you're ready to go.
Yeah, a year, and then several months after that before I moved and actually made it up here. So it was about a 2-year process for me.
Now, when you decided, I don't know how to say this, but I know the further I get to liberty issues, the more my old life gets destroyed. In a sense that I lost a lot of friends I don't talk to as much as I should have, stuff like that, but I don't really, activism is such a big part. Did you go through something similar?
Not really. I mean, I've moved from Texas up here, so obviously I don't see all the same folks that I used to down in Texas, but my friends actually found out about my jail. They had called me a few times and gotten voicemail, and they realized something was wrong, and then one of them Googled me and saw all the news reports, and they were like, holy crap, what's happened to Sam? So then I got a letter in jail with some jokes from Half Baked about Nasty Nate, and for the people that have seen that movie, they'll know what I'm talking about.
Excellent. So, okay, it wasn't that hard of a family transition for you.
I mean, there was a stage I went through where I was arguing, would get into heated debates with family, and that would cause some tension, and then over time I just kept fine-tuning my message and understanding how I was creating that negative response. And once I was able to craft the message in a different way that was less confrontational, it took time for me, that rarely happens anymore.
Well, I remember, let's jump over to, for a little brief time, why don't you tell my viewers, I mean, most of them know that you got jailed because I've done reports about you, but in case this is their first one, they're watching, can you give them a little update of how it happened, what happened, and what's going on now?
Basically, I went into the Keene District Court lobby to film because the judge had issued an order saying there's no filming in the public lobby. As a journalist, I think it's pretty important that the public be allowed access to public property and to exercise freedom of the press and open courts, as they say they're supposed to be. So I went in there and was told to turn off the camera, and when I didn't, I was arrested, and I exercised my right to remain silent, and because of that, I was jailed for 58 days, and until they finally threw me out, which was after several things. We were filing writs of habeas corpus to talk about the denial of rights. We were doing things in the media to get on shows like Freedom Watch. You did some reports, a lot of different bloggers out there, and people got the word out, which really spread the message of freedom and liberty to a lot of new folks, and now they know about the Free State Project and what we're doing up here. And also let the city know that I would be suing them eventually for this, and the longer they kept me in jail, the greater liability they incurred for taxpayers. And the next day after those letters went out, they scheduled a trial date and kicked me out a week later.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't seen that video, you need to take a look at some past videos, but I believe Free Minds TV has the best one where you just are still in your jumpsuit, which I've never even heard of.
Well, yeah, so they walked me out in the orange jumpsuit.
Just get the hell out.
Well, yeah, and then I'm outside and I'm like, should we leave? Should we leave? I was ready to get in the car, but I'm like, hold on, I got to do a victory lap around the jail in the orange jumpsuit so all the people think, what, did he escape?
This has got to be great.
It was fun.
All right.
Anyway, so yeah, that's...
I'd say like 5 or 10 years from now, when the Free State Project gets huge, you'll have to auction that jumpsuit. It'll be
here's the
$1 million auction.
Van Wickler asked. They did a follow-up story. The Keene Sentinel, the local paper in New Hampshire, did a follow-up story, and the reporter had talked to Van Wickler, called me back, and one of her last questions was, Van Wickler wants to know when he's going to get his orange jumpsuit back. So I may have to give it back to him. I don't know.
Oh, we'll just have to take it out of what you're going to get from them, maybe. Take it off the bill.
Somebody said, "Oh, you should offer to pay whatever it costs."
Yeah, that's $12.
How could he take the money with the bureaucracy?
So, what's your game plan at this point? Or can you discuss much strategy with us, or is it
not the legal strategy? I mean, obviously, we're taking these charges to trial. There were several motions that were filed this week, about 13, to see what kind of case they have, and that's probably all I can say there. Longer term, I don't know. You know, we're going to have a lot of new movers coming in because of what happened to me. A lot of people that found out, you know, about the story about the Free State Project, about Keene, New Hampshire, and who knows where it's going to go from here. That's the most exciting part.
Well, can you give me an idea what your next documentary is about? Because I haven't seen one in a while.
Short film. Well, there was one I was filming the morning before I was arrested. That is in rough cut right now, so that'll be out shortly after Porkfest.
All right, thank you so much, sir, and I appreciate the time, and thanks for what you did. I know it was a tough one. One last thing I want to run by that I kept getting questions about, though. People would always say, "Why didn't he just give it and get out? You know, why would you sit in jail for 58 days if you didn't have to?"
Well, so what I was doing is filing writs of habeas corpus, which essentially challenge what the state is doing, the way they were treating me, denying, you know, some of my basic rights, and Superior Court had been able to throw them out and dismiss them on silly grounds, and so we took them to the Supreme Court. Well, they were getting to the point where they had to rule on them, and if they ruled on them, it would mean that people could get arrested, not show ID, not speak a word, not provide a name, an address. All you would have to give is a fingerprint, or you could give a name, date of birth, that sort of thing. But all of the things that I said no to, it could have created precedent to let all other activists come in from then on and do the same thing. And I think that scared them as well.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Okay.
This program is brought to you by FreeKeene.com. FreeKeene.com features audio, video, and blogs chronicling the transition to a voluntary society. FreeKeene